Afternoon, Mitsubishi dealers and special guests. Welcome to this month's Checkered Flag series on harnessing customer reviews to drive success, part one of a part two series. My name is Stephen Justice, Senior Director of Dealer Training. We will begin our presentation in approximately 6 minutes, just giving some time for others to join. While they are joining, just as a quick reminder and housekeeping rule to everyone, everybody has been placed in listen only mode. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please utilize the chat feature within your Teams window, type in your question, and I'll do my very best to give you an answer at the end. This session will also be recorded, where a link to the recording and a copy of today's presentation will be made available in the coming days. So once again, thank you in advance for joining. Please continue to hold, and we will start in approximately 6 minutes. Good afternoon or good morning once again to all Mitsubishi dealers and special guests. We will begin in approximately 2 minutes, just giving some time for everyone to join the session. Just as another quick reminder, everyone has been placed in listen-only mode. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please utilize either the chat or Q&A feature within your Teams window. Type in your question, and I'll do my very best to give you an answer at the conclusion of today's presentation. Once again, thank you so much for joining today, and we will begin in approximately 2 minutes. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Checkered Flag webinar, Harnessing Customer Reviews to Drive Success. My name is Stephen Justice, Senior Director of Dealer Training at Unite Digital. Today, we will be diving into a topic that directly influences your store's visibility, reputation, and revenue: customer reviews. And whether it's a service visit, a purchase, or even just a quick interaction, each experience is a chance to create a lasting impression. And more importantly, a lasting review. So let's talk about how we turn those experiences into dealership growth. Here's what we'll cover today. We'll start with why reviews matter so much in today's digital first environment, then move into how to manage your reputation score, the measurable sales and service impacts of reviews, expert strategies to improve your reputation, and as always, we will round out our final lap with a checklist to guide your next steps, and finally conclude with any questions you have. So just as a reminder, please utilize the Q&A or chat feature within your Teams window, and I'll do my very best to answer your questions at the conclusion of today's session. All right. I always like to start with a quote, as you guys know, if you've ever attended a previous Checkered Flag webinar, and I absolutely love this quote from Jeff Bezos. I feel it's completely appropriate. And that is, if you build a great experience, customers tell others about it. Word of mouth is very powerful. And let me kind of put this into a little bit more of a real world perspective, just sort of a rhetorical question out to everyone. If you've ever been in sort of a social setting, maybe a dinner party or something else, or hanging out with friends, and someone just bought a new car, think about the story that they tell you. Very little of that story has to do with what they paid for the car or what their finance rate is or what their trade-in value is. Rather, the entire story is usually centered around their experience at the store, how quick and efficient the sales associate was, how knowledgeable we were about the vehicle, the options we gave them, how quick the service from beginning to end was, and how comfortable they felt. Again, people like to share stories. They love to share their experience with others. It's quite literally what social media was built on. So our goal as a dealership is to provide an experience worth talking about and get that customer to share their story online with the rest of the world. So what does customer reviews really play in automotive digital marketing, right? And so into our world. Well, I will say, here's the thing about reviews. They really aren't just for restaurants, hotels, or gadgets. They're a massive influence in the car buying and servicing journey. Strong reviews can boost your local search visibility and even improve your ad performance by up to 200%. You heard that right, 200. 90% of shoppers read reviews before deciding where to go. However, here's the catch: most customers who had a great experience typically won't share it unless we ask and invite them to share it. And that's why review requesting should be considered a core tactic at your store. And we talk often about this concept of leading the customer down the buying journey. And this doesn't just stop once they purchase, it continues after the sale. From requesting a review, responding to their review. That'll be a key component of what we talked about in part 2 of our series in June, but keeping them a customer for life. And how do we begin by doing this? Well, it's by requesting a review with every customer every time. And spoiler alert, you're probably going to hear me say that just a couple more times today. So I hope you don't get sick of it. So, for me, a strong reputation, online reputation, can be the difference between attracting new customers or losing them to competitors completely. And for Mitsubishi dealers, maintaining a positive online presence not only enhances visibility, but it also reinforces our brand's commitment to quality and customer satisfaction. And we have a lot to brag about as a brand and our level of customer satisfaction. But put that aside, some compelling stats on why both review quality and review volume matters. Well, the stats speak for themselves. 88% of consumers read reviews to determine the quality of local business. 85% of consumers trust online reviews as much as a suggestion made by someone they know. So, reading reviews by strangers online has just as much impact on their buying decision than their friend or relative that purchased a vehicle from you. And here's some other interesting stats because it's not just about review quality, but about review volume. 25% more leads for dealerships with over 100 reviews than those with fewer. And there's a 20% rise in lead to sale conversion for dealerships that have increased reviews. So there's a lot of not only value in the reputation and what that holds in the minds of customers, but there's also implications for sales and for revenue. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a few slides. But when you think about sort of the why, well, why does this matter? Because reviews assure customers that their expectations will be met. And as a result, reviews drive website traffic, as I said just a few minutes ago, and they spur higher lead conversion. Yet, here's the trick, is reviews remain one of the most ignored forms of marketing. However, the heart of a dealership's reputation lives in its online reviews because that's where trust is built. Stories are shared, and first impressions are formed before a customer ever walks through the door. We are all guilty of forming an impression before we meet someone or before we even walk into a business. We form an opinion of that. So your dealership's reputation should be considered a business asset, and it needs proactive care, not just a hope that a customer will leave a review. But more than just a review score, a reputation overall for a dealership targets certain variables. And at a high level, they're first a star average, which is basically high ratings on important sites that are critical to your online reputation, sort of like Google, Facebook, cars.com, et cetera. Review volume. A healthy volume of reviews sort of represents yourself as an established business. Review spread. Spoiler alert, it's not all about Google. So, reviews that are distributed across all major sites help improve your search coverage. We also look at review recency, and those are recent reviews that create sort of that fresh and vibrant feel for a location. We talked about SEO implications. So, the search impression and a robust presence on search engines invites prospective customers. Review response, well, that's responding to reviews, and that sort of elevates your credibility. It's not enough to just get reviews. Part two that we'll discover in June is about how do we also respond to reviews. And then, of course, there's listing completeness, and this is sort of your listing's completeness on major review sites and business pages. That helps bring new customers that didn't already know about you. And then review quality. We'll talk about this in depth, and that's about a customer leaving a story. Star ratings are great, but we really want customers to share their entire experience because longer reviews are more substantial, they're more impactful to those that are reading it. And then finally, a social score. And a strong social score basically just indicates active and positive engagement with your audience on social media. Now, we'll be diving deeper into several of these variables today, then cover the remainder during our part two session of Checkered Flag next month. So let's dive into it. Now, review volume. And the headline here, ladies and gentlemen, is volume is vital. Yeah, quality reviews matter, but quantity is what actually builds credibility. Remember, 88% of customers use reviews to judge a business, and 85% trust them as much as word of mouth. So more reviews equal more trust and thus more traffic. And there's a direct link here, guys. Dealerships with over 100 reviews get more leads and higher conversion rates. This has been proven out. So when you're building the volume of reviews, I want you to consider the following tactics. Don't just ask for reviews. Ask your customer to share their experience on their favorite online review site. Most disappointed customers don't hesitate to write a review. I think we all know that. It's really just their way to make sure their voice is heard. However, on the flip side, many usually don't consider writing a positive review about their overall experience when it comes to car purchases. And it's important to hear from that silent majority. Remember our analogy earlier about people love to talk about their experience. So, spoiler alert on this, though, not every review is going to be positive, and customers don't expect that. As a matter of fact, if all they saw was positive reviews, that starts to become suspect to them. They expect that some customers are going to have some challenges and they're going to talk about it. However, your continued practice of responding to every review lets customers know they're being heard and you're taking their feedback seriously. Again, we have an entire session dedicated to that in June. So the next thing is word tracks. And what I mean by that is using word tracks multiple times through the sales or service process. This means that your staff should be strategically planting review prompts at key moments in the process, not just once at the end of the experience. And asking the right questions means you're not just saying, hey, would you mind please leaving a review, but framing it in a way that encourages authentic and detailed responses. There's actually a psychological approach to this. And here's how I think it applies to review requesting. It starts first early in the process and telling customers, hey, we love hearing feedback from our customers. It helps us improve and helps others choose our store. Then during that moment of satisfaction with the customer where they're happy, they have keys in hand, they're ready to drive off the lot, where you say to them, you've been awesome to work with. When you have a moment, would you be open to sharing your experience in a quick review? And then at the close, letting them know you'll get a message from us asking for a review. It helps us out. And I'd love to hear what you thought about your visit today. Now, one of the most obvious tools to completing this review solicitation strategy is the use of like the reputation.com platform. And this is where technology can make this process quick and efficient. And all of you have that tool at your disposal. However, think of when you're likely most susceptible to provide a review of a product or service. It's probably at the point of sale, right? So while review requests for customers after the sale or service via reputation.com platform, or I'm going to show you some other methods that may be beneficial to you, that's a good strategic and efficient approach. What I'm going to challenge everyone with today is we should also be taking a more tactical approach, to which we'll discuss a little bit later. But what I will say is, whatever you do, be mindful of your customers. How easy do we make it for them to even leave a review, whether it's in store or after a sale? And let's make sure that we can keep up with the response rates due to that increased in volume. And so you may ask, well, why is that? Why is it? How is it effective? Well, repetition increases follow through, especially when you build trust and rapport during the visit. And that is the key. It's about building the experience that a customer wants to talk about and it creating that seamless handoff from in-person experience to that digital feedback. How easy do we make them to want to tell that story? And that helps you capture the voice of the customer while their memory is fresh and emotions are high. So consider those talk tracks throughout every part of the process, early in the process, during that moment of satisfaction, and at the close. Now, when it comes to review spread, it's not just about Google. I want to emphasize that. It is not just about Google. It's important to have a balanced presence on multiple review enabled sites. In other words, don't just rely on Google. And while Google reviews are often sort of the go to for many businesses, and I get it, that is the king of where everyone goes to. But the reality is that customers today rely on a variety of platforms to validate their choices. So sites like Facebook, Cars.com, Edmunds, DealerRater, Yelp, they can all play a significant role in shaping perception. And so you may ask, why does this matter? Well, because a strong presence across multiple review sites really signals consistency, transparency, and credibility. And search engines also, just so you know, reward this spread. So a healthy distribution of reviews on multiple platforms boosts your SEO and increases your dealership's chances of showing up in different search contexts. Not everyone searches the same, right? But Google rewards you for that sort of spread. So you want to train your teams really to ask, how did you find us? And then you want to tailor your review requests accordingly. So for instance, if a customer discovered you through cars.com, send them a review link for that particular site after their visit. It's a great way to meet customers where they are and diversify your review footprint. So reviews that are more recent create higher trust factor. And this is where we're going to talk about review recency. Old reviews can make you look a little out of touch, whereas new reviews show your store's active and engaged. So you want to make recent reviews a priority. And how do you do that? By asking daily. Remember what I said, every customer, every time, whether it's sales or whether it's service. And sales and service teams should be aligned on this. So you can by doing so, you can ensure that associates are consistently asking for the reviews from both sales and service customers, that we're requesting reviews regularly. And don't be afraid to set goals for review volume for both your sales associates and service advisors. The dealership's ability to achieve sales goals and profitability has a direct link to customer satisfaction. So, the point I'm trying to make there, ladies and gentlemen, is that every member of the dealership has a responsibility to ensure each and every customer, whether it's in the sales or service department, has a truly exceptional experience and future prospective customers know about it. Now, longer detailed reviews build more trust. So you want customers to express what made their experience great. This is where we talk about review quality, that personal storytelling. That's what makes your reputation authentic. And people love authenticity. It's what hits to their emotional center. And it's a hard metric to control, but longer reviews are more substantial. And as I said, more impactful to those reading them. So I'll ask you guys this: which review do you think has a greater influence? My experience was great. Or, hey, Stephen was amazing and explained all my financing options. I can't wait to drive it on vacation. This has an emotional impact on a customer, a prospective customer who says, hey, I think this is a dealership I want to buy from. Because make no mistake, they can buy the same car anywhere. What they can't buy is the same experience. And customers love a good experience. Think of yourself and anything you've purchased, whether it be online or in a store, you care about experience. So you want to ask customers to share their story on their favorite online review site. How you ask for that feedback could drive action and even more in-depth reviews. So you want to, again, be strategic about, how did you find us? Would you be open to giving us a review? You've been awesome to work with. And you want to also maybe encourage customers to add pictures to their review and mention specific staff or vehicle type. When they mention specific type, you're not only building the dealership's brand, you're building your own brand. So customers ask for you when they come in because they want that same experience. So again, these personal touches add authenticity. And as a pro tip, take a picture for them and send it to them with a thank you and a request to leave a review. Organically, they're likely to include that if we gave them that truly exceptional experience. Just remember, as we've discussed, both the volume and quality of a review after sale or service, it's not just about the transaction. Reputation is built on experiences. So customers don't just review transactions the same way that they give that input in a CSI survey. They review experiences, which means every interaction, from a first impression to a final handshake, contributes to the story they tell online. That means your reputation isn't just shaped by a sale or a service ticket. It's shaped by how your receptionist greets them, how clean your waiting area is, how clearly you communicate next steps, and how promptly you follow up. And in today's digital landscape, guys, even a small moment, good or bad, can become a lasting online review. If you've ever left a review for someone when you've been upset at the experience, know that that stays in there in perpetuity, right? So we want to make sure we're always providing a positive experience. And I'll say it again, every member of your dealership plays a role in reputation. So Star rating is really not the only method, like we've talked about, of measuring your online reputation. There's actually a measurable financial impact of customer reviews for both sales and service. And here's the financial reality, guys. Positive reviews increase lead to sale conversion rates by 20%. Why? Because reviews create validation, it reduces friction and increases confidence. So prospective buyers are more likely to convert into leads and ultimately sales when they see positive, authentic reviews that reflect a strong customer experience. And in our industry, where trust is key, the difference can mean hundreds of thousands in additional revenue annually. So, how do you ensure prospective buyers learn about that strong customer experience that you provide? Well, here's a couple tips for you. One, you should be highlighting positive reviews on your website. Display those customer stories and star ratings prominently on your homepage or on your VDP pages. Seeing real experiences can help push those visitors further down that sales funnel. And make sure you're using reviews in your ads so you can incorporate those positive reviews or customer success stories in things like Google and Facebook ads. This not only enhances credibility, but it also boosts ad performance and click through rates, as we saw earlier in the presentation. And again, I'll say it one more time, create a review collection campaign. So whether you develop it via email, text campaigns, you want to always specifically target satisfied customers, asking them to share their positive experience. But don't be afraid to ask that of every customer every time, because remember, more reviews equal more social proof, which helps convert leads faster. Now, service reviews matter just as much as sales, and you have more of an opportunity through the service drive to build that review volume than you do in sales, obviously. And a 25% boost in retention can come from those better reviews, as we learned earlier. And then the service department, customer reviews are actually key to converting leads into loyal returning customers. Remember, we want a customer for life. So not just after the purchase, we want them to service with us and continue servicing with us until they're ready to buy again. So a strong reputation for quality service not only attracts new clients, but also reassures existing ones. And that is the key. And so how do you ensure that that happens? Well, here's a few tips for you. Featuring service reviews on your website, just as you did sales. Add a dedicated section for service reviews and testimonials on your website service page, emphasizing customer satisfaction and trust in your team's expertise. This is typically where customer experience breakdown happens the most. So we have to be really mindful and cognizant of this. And you need to request reviews after every service visit. We've said this repeatedly throughout this presentation. Make requesting a review a standard part of your post-service process. You can automate this through your CRM or your service management software and send review requests via text or email within 24 hours of a service visit or whatever your specified time frame is. But again, help letting technology do the work for you to ensure that no customer slips through the cracks. And let's not forget about the SEO value. We talked Checkered Flag a few months ago about your Google Business Profile page. So promote your service expertise on that page. Positive service reviews help you rank higher in local searches for things like car repair or vehicle service, and they increase your chances of converting those leads into appointments. So the headline is obvious, right? An automotive dealership's online reputation can significantly influence its sales and financial performance. Positive reviews coupled with a high star rating, the equation's simple, boosts dealerships' visibility, it attracts more potential buyers and increases foot traffic. And dealerships with higher scores convert twice as many online visitors. And research shows, guys, that dealerships with a strong online reputation can see a 10 to 20% increase in customer retention. Conversely, negative reviews and poor ratings can deter potential customers and lead to lost sales. So the financial impact is crystal clear, I think, on this one. Managing online reputation is not just about protecting the brand, it also has a direct effect on the dealership's bottom line. So now that we've covered the why behind reviews, I want to shift to the how a little bit. And this next section is all about execution. And we're going to talk about some practical, proven tips that dealerships just like yours can implement right away to strengthen your reputation, increase review volume, and engage more effectively with your customers. So, whether you're starting fresh or just looking to level up your game when it comes to requesting reviews, I'm hoping that these strategies will help you turn happy customers into those powerful advocates that we want them to tell their story to the world. And I think it starts with having an assigned sort of champion at the store for reputation management to give your store that strategic advantage that we've been talking about. And I think doing so will help to ensure a consistent, proactive oversight of the dealership's online presence and customer feedback. So considerations for, what a reputation management champion at your dealership could look like and what their responsibilities would be. Well, it starts with monitoring the online reviews, so regularly tracking and responding to customer reviews across all the platforms. Remember, we're not just looking for someone to monitor Google. We want them to monitor all the platforms and respond to each one of them. So a person who would maybe engage with customers, and that's sort of taking ownership of customer concerns, ensuring they're addressed and resolved, which would obviously reflect sort of our commitment to customer satisfaction. So think of the Ritz-Carlton experience where, if you run into an issue, whoever you speak to has to see that issue all the way through. That really helps make that experience great for that customer and want them to tell that story. A reputation management champion could collaborate with all the different departments in the store. They could work with sales, service, or any other teams to address sort of reoccurring issues. So we can help streamline communication, and we ensure that all the internal teams are aware of customer feedback trends. This is a really positive moment where we can see, hey, where is there a customer experience breakdown that is happening across multiple customers? Because we are seeing that in comments, and we start to address that and streamlining that process. And someone who can maybe implement some reputation strategies, and those could be like to encourage satisfied customers to leave positive reviews, and make sure it's reflected online, and building some of those both strategic and tactical approaches that we've talked about and I'm about to share in a moment. But one last thing I'll say on the reputation management champion, this does not necessarily need to be an additional headcount to your staff, but it does actually need to be someone that is genuinely dedicated to delivering a premium customer experience to guests and educating team members on how to do the same with every customer every time. So let's talk about a couple of expert tips. And the best time, like I said, to ask for a review is during that moment of peak satisfaction, which is usually in the store. So think about some things that you can do at critical touch points within the store of the customer to gain their review. Well, it could be using tablets that the service advisor or sales associates have to hand over to them to let them do that very quickly on the spot. It could be printed cards. It could be even a quick text link, or it could be QR codes strategically placed in the finance office or in the customer service waiting areas for customers to leave reviews. And that immediate feedback really increases the chances of receiving positive, detailed reviews. And again, positive and detailed reviews, detail being the key, helps build trust and boosts your dealership's online reputation. So the headline here is encouraging reviews in real time minimizes the risk of a customer forgetting or delaying the process. And that leads to more consistent review volume, which we know is one of the variables of building your online reputation and creating that seamless process. And what I mean by that is, again, maybe using things like a tablet or mobile device, making it easy for the customer to leave a review. Remember, our goal to building a good experience for the customer is removing every type of friction that may exist to make things seamless for them online or offline. But it's also about leveraging customer enthusiasm, like I said, in the store at peak satisfaction. So immediately after a successful sale or service, that's when they're most enthusiastic. So you want to use that moment to politely ask them to share their positive experience. But as we said earlier, you want to start early in the process, then at the moment of peak satisfaction, asking them for their review, and then reminding them again at the close of the sale. And again, making it easy for them, letting technology do the work for you. And that's things like providing a quick access link. So whether it's creating a QR code that links directly to your Google, Yelp, or Facebook review pages, displaying that signage throughout the showroom, whether it's hang tags on the rear view mirror or whether it's printed tent cards on the tables throughout the dealership, making it easy for them. And again, setting goals for both review volume for sales and service advisors. Now, not every customer is going to do it in the moment, and we get that, and we don't want to force them to do that. Some prefer to review from home, and that's okay. So asking for reviews via email after the sale allows customers time to reflect on their experience and share that thoughtful, detailed feedback. And it also provides kind of a convenient, non-intrusive way for customers to leave a review at their own pace. So we want to make it easy for them, whether it's in the store or offline. We want to make sure we're creating a seamless process. And so email requests sort of allow your dealership, to automate and personalize follow-up messages, and you sort of increase your chances of receiving more reviews on and maintaining consistent engagement. How do you do that? Well, again, asking the customer to share their experience versus leaving a review. We want customers to tell a story. You should be linking logos to each of your review sites, right? Because not every customer is going to go or wants to go to Google. Some are more comfortable on Facebook. Some are more comfortable on cars.com. Remember, we talked about asking how they found us and maybe making that their site preference for leaving us a positive review. And the good thing about this, ladies and gentlemen, is you can involve your entire staff in developing a message to them, to the customer, and it can be used repeatedly. But one thing I would ask is when you're asking customers, one thing I would suggest is offer them something in return. So as you see in the example here, to thank you for leaving a review, you'll get a 10% coupon off your next service visit with us after you submit your review. That is a non-intrusive sort of incentive to the customer to leave that review and tell their story. Now, whether it's via text, email, mobile apps, you need a repeatable process for sending review requests. And so after the sale, again, one of the things that come to mind is reputation.com platform. And you want to pick a method that works for your store and you're sure it happens with every satisfied customer. Um, so the good thing about reputation.com as an example is you can actually set specified times where a review request goes out post transaction or post service visit. So whether it's 24 hours after the visit or 7 days after the visit, whatever strategy works best for you. And you can even give it predefined follow-up attempts. So again, this is where technology does the work for you and ensures that no customer slips through the cracks, right? And so you can completely customize all those templates to fit your store's method. But here's what I will say one more time. No matter what your method is, most importantly, you ensure that you do it with every customer every time. Now, as we round out the final lap of our Checkered Flag series, we always like to provide some resources to help you execute a strategy at store. And so this is your checklist. And if you do these things consistently, you will absolutely strengthen your reputation and your revenue. And that's asking for reviews after every customer interaction, automating review requests when possible, and customizing those templates, making the review process easy for customers. It's not enough to invite them, but we also have to make it easy and incentivize your team to promote those reviews, right? Those are the ones that are going to be most impactful in getting the objective that we want of both review and quality. Asking for the review, providing the great experience. And don't be afraid to highlight that great experience on your website. That increases your conversion rates and can even have a financial impact. So you want to make sure you're creating a review collection campaign that involves every person in the dealership, because every person in the dealership has a stake in the reputation of the store. We talked about that, creating seamless process and leveraging the customer enthusiasm, meaning at that peak moment of satisfaction. It's not just about requesting after a sale or service. It's about even asking them while they're in store, because here's the other spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. A review does not have to just be because of a transaction, either a service visit or a car purchase. A review online with Google can even just be about the experience they had in the store, even if they didn't spend a dime with you. So we want to make sure we're always providing that level of great quality service, and we're leveraging the customer enthusiasm as our reward. So providing that quick access link to let them do that, setting the goals for your sales and service advisors, asking the customer to share their story, and asking for the review and give something in return. And one more thing, and we'll dive deeper into this topic during part two, is respond to every customer every time. This adds authenticity. It means that you show customers you are listening to them and you're taking their feedback serious to improve the customer experience, regardless of what the customer's written perceptions are. Again, the best way to achieve this is respond to every customer every time. And we're going to dive deep into this in June for our next Checker Flag series. But what I would encourage you, don't wait till June to start responding to your customers. Start doing it right now. Again, it doesn't matter if your words aren't perfect. What matters is that customers feel that they're being heard and that you're taking their feedback seriously. We'll give some great tips next month on how to do that, but start it right now if you're not already doing so. And if you need any help, obviously reach out to your digital consultant or email us. We'll connect you with your reputation.com rep, or we'll walk you through managed support options tailored to your store. But your digital consultants, they're the very best at what they do, and they can help develop that strategy online and offline to make sure that no customers slipping through the cracks, and you're building that reputation score and that reputation, that premium experience to get customers to want to tell their story. And of course, we have some resources to help you along the way. You will get a recording of today's message, of today's presentation. You'll also get a copy of today's deck. And we also have a resource guide and checklist that you can share with members of your store. So before we conclude, I would like to request a review. See what I did there? We'd love your feedback. I want to know how valuable you found this session, what you'd like to learn more about, and take a couple minutes to tell me what is most important to you to learn about in the future. So I'm going to launch that right now. If you wouldn't mind, it's just 4 quick questions. I'll also be monitoring the chat and Q&A for any questions that you've typed along this presentation. Happy to answer them. But if you wouldn't if you wouldn't mind taking a quick moment, I was hopefully your peak satisfaction, I would appreciate it. And I will take a look and see if we have anything in chat. It doesn't look like we have anything as of yet, but I will keep the poll open, and I really appreciate your responses. If there are no other questions, I'll keep the poll open for a little bit, but I do want to thank you all for taking the time to join me today. I appreciate your commitment to continuously optimizing your online reputation through an exceptional customer experience. And remember, this is what I'll close with, is your online reputation isn't just a score or star rating. It's actually your store's story, and it's told through the eyes of your customers. So make every interaction count. Every review is a chance to attract, impress, and retain more business. So I'll keep the poll open. I'll stay open for any questions if there are any. But I want to thank you once again, and look forward to seeing you at the next Checkered Flag.